I think last Thursday, going back again.
Right.
You had some, I think, lung issues, and I'm just going to check. I haven't been able to go and just and see if there's anything I might help my mother-in-law, to care with. She's been there for about 4 days already. So yeah.
Right.
So yeah. But okay, so maybe share some wins. Would you like to do that first?
Well, I'd say, but I mean, why don't you just go for going to the hospital if you're there already? Let's,
Okay,
I
right
think,
now,
family comes first, mate. So I'm happy with that.
okay, yeah, no, but I think half an hour is all right. Okay, because I
Sure.
told her
Okay.
the time. Yeah. It's
Okay.
and actually it's not. I mean, it's not emergency. It's just it's already.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's past that period. It's just trying to be helpful, trying to
Yeah.
upload some burden and maybe give her some
Yeah.
break. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Good.
So, would you like to share some wins on your side first?
Yes. Here I
Okay.
am.
Go ahead.
That's my win.
New hotel.
Yeah. I've been in the
Right?
beach.
Oh wow.
Been with nice clean water and stuff. Been swimming in the sea.
Okay.
It's very
Wow.
nice.
Nice.
Well, the problem I got is I'm just not doing any work, and it's very difficult. I had a phone call this morning, literally minutes before our schedule. So I checked on that, and it was a customer giving me some bad news, but I don't mind because I don't mind. But yeah, it's just all kind of. That's kind of like I'm just doing little picks of work. So it's almost, that's how I feel. It's just like, So I have a nice kind of blanket day where I'm doing nothing, and then suddenly I go, like that. And it's a little bit like, it's a little bit like not having a haircut, but having somebody pull a hair out with your tweezers, right? It's like, as opposed to getting on and concentrating. And I find it really difficult sometimes to work, but at the same time, it's nice to relax. But this is there's a picture of me eating seafood on the beach.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
I look very Aryan in that. I look like something from the Hitler Youth or something. So it's kind of like
right.
But,
all right. So how does it feel though? Oh wow, that's nice. Okay. Wow.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, it's made me realize actually that I looked at, so the place we're in at the moment is called a boutique hotel, and it's I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's not expensive. And then we have to travel down the road 10 minutes in the car, and then you're in. I don't know if you remember the G20 was here in Bali recently.
Oh really?
And,
okay.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, and it was in an area down the road that they had obviously created or made really nice, and so there were security points and stuff. So you can go in there and get onto the public beaches there, but also the hotels like Novotel, Sofitel, Grand Hyatt are all in that area. And I thought, I wonder how much they are. And actually, the Grand Hyatt is £190, less than £190 per night. And when I stayed in London, I paid 185. So, and I paid that to go. I stayed in a shit hotel to go and see Dan Sullivan when he came to England last year. Right? And I thought, bloody hell, I pay 185 for a crappy room in London just so I can go and see Dan Sullivan. And yet over here, I can stay in the Grand Hyatt every night for 180. It just makes no sense at all, right? So the little lesson there is not to be stingy on the. because if you measure it and you go, well, okay, well, this hotel here is £65 and this one here is £165. So, well, this one's a 4-star. What do I? But it's actually, there are differences, and so I actually want to go to Thailand. No, Vietnam next. And so I just did a check. 5-star hotels in Vietnam are like £70. It's just ridiculous. Into fact, we're flying back to Qatar, right, via Qatar Airways, right? So we're going back to Doha, sorry. And a 5-star hotel that we're staying in is £75. It's just bonkers.
Yeah. Okay, right.
So,
well, that's actually, I think in a life hacking circle, that's what you call, you earn the money in the Western world and you spend it in the third world. You can live like a king.
yeah.
So I think that's it's popular in the life hacking circle. Yeah, that's something I was aware of. Yeah. But I think that's that's disparity, but also one can leverage that, right, to your advantage, right?
Yeah
for sure. Yeah.
And I think ultimately you're giving something back because you're employing people who perhaps who want who wouldn't necessarily be able to benefit as much, and unless people were doing that sort of thing. So
okay, all right,
but
thanks.
I don't know.
All right, so thanks for sharing that. All right, so maybe I'll share some wins on my side as well. Okay, all right, so I do have a few wins. Well, the first is yesterday I was having a hike with Andrew. Andrew, our advisor, the Canadian Andrew. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He's actually on a business trip in Taiwan for a week. I just got notice like 3-4 days ago. Okay. I just fine. I can meet you on Sunday. So cool. Yesterday, he's for a conference for 3 days, and 3 to 4 days, and so yesterday we went on a hike, had a great lunch, visited the National Palace Museum. Okay, right. Which, by the way, if you're here, you also want to go. And the thing that came out from this is Andrew, I think he asked about funding issues, and he's been throwing out a lot of the funding resource, asking why hasn't it happened. And I simply asked, is that something you can help? So he said yes. so I mean, obviously there's something we can discuss later, but I guess just Andrew is back in the sense that he's well, he's not back, but I mean he's able to and willing to spend more of his time and attention helping us to secure maybe funding from these different funding sources, and also potentially with a role as a chief impact officer. Okay, so that's the kind of the position, because he has to be in a certain position, right, in order to maybe to do these things on the team's behalf, right? He cannot just simply be a quote unquote advisor, right, to be doing this.
No,
right?
No, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
Right. Yeah. So and we discuss maybe a chief chief impact officer. That might be, because chief strategy, chief communication, we also discussed that. Okay, but okay, this is a business topic that we can discuss a bit later. I just want to share that this is the win. Okay, so we potentially will have a chief impact officer joining us, helping us to secure funding and reaching out, on the team's behalf, right? And he might be more connected and well versed in that space as well. Okay, so that's the first win. Second win is I just had a chat with Joy. Okay. Now, yeah, and she's back. Okay, there is actually a little unfortunate incident on her side that the company she's and her team has been working with actually just cut off their service like that. Okay. Wow. Basically, yeah. So immediately, like she's now looking for certain things that can replace. However, that also means that her time is, she now has more time capacity, and she's willing and able, to continue where where we left off last time. So she's been looking at the onboarding process, the website, things like that, and she just, asked for more detailed things. So I had a chat with her, and I guess the idea is that she's probably able to help us to fine tune website onboarding, user experience, marketing, and probably joining us on the team sync on Thursday. Okay, we discussed we might want to change the team sync to Thursday, in your time zone morning, in our time zone 4 p.m. That also fits better for her because our previous time, the team sync 5 a.m. here was too early for her when she was going bed at 1 a.m. Okay, so I think that's also just another nice adjustment.
Yeah.
So second win, we might have a marketing officer joining us back
Cool.
in capacity. Okay. Yeah, and but just for that, I also mentioned maybe she should check with you because I knew you had something you wanted to discuss with her before, right? So just mentioning maybe if that's something still of interest, maybe have a conversation. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's my second win. Now my third win. So this is actually related to the 10x. We're learning about. I think Dr. Ben Hardy mentioned about he loves Peter Thiel. The co-founder of PayPal, and the billionaire investor. Peter Thiel has this saying that how can think about whether you can realize your 10-year goal or 10-year dream in the next 6 months, right? In other words, can you live your 10-year future self, make it happen in the next half a year, right? And this is something that always intrigued me, and it's just kind of on the back of my mind. And that I already wanted to build a social accelerator in 10 years, right? That's my future self. However, just this past week, he has gotten apparently a lot closer than than maybe 10 years. And if with luck, it could happen in the next 6 months. Okay. So what happened is that the Planet Mixer event, okay, I was just, having another, actually, so I intro Angela to the actually an impact investor in Taiwan. Is, I would say, quite well connected and very experienced in the space. He's actually Dr. Stephen Young. He actually invited me to be on his podcast, which is the #1 podcast in technology on iTunes in Taiwan. Okay, so actually he has invited me to on his podcast tomorrow. Okay, I think I might share this. So I'm going to have
talk about coach.
Right, exactly. I'm going to have like a 30-minute interview with him, and basically I introduced Angela to Stephen, and he just sort of mentioned in the passing that, well, you have this nice mixer group. There are investors, there are founders, and even incubators. Why not start something from this? Try to maybe leverage the incubator resource to help founders, with acceleration and maybe also funding, and get started an impact fund, of this mixer group.
Is that not what wealth is?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But,
I mean,
so we've got it. It's just that this guy's actually is he suggesting that he can leverage some of his?
Yes, I think he
wealth.
is.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, he was just mentioned this in passing. Okay, like it wasn't, it wasn't like a serious proposal. It's just something he was like suggesting. However, because I have my 10-year future self, I knew I want to build a social accelerator. So that becomes a filter for my ears and my eyes when I'm hearing stuff, right? So Angela responded in a way, this is interesting, that she just said, no, maybe, not that active. Like, we don't want to be that proactive yet. We don't know what the group is like. We don't know like what's the level for the interest, what their topic might be, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
she was still like exploring, like she's in this exploratory phase. However, because I knew where I'm heading, so I can piece off the bits of information. And because I don't know if you know, aware, I just recently got connected with Draper University, Team Draper's Draper University. No, you don't. Okay, so that's another win. I might be invited as a mentor coach for their online startup program. Okay, and right now maybe helping them to bring their online coaching, online accelerator program to a wider audience. Okay, maybe in the Taiwanese space. So a potential possibility, combining the different resources, it would be something that might look like this. Helping, let's say, Taiwanese impact founders to get trained with Draper Universities, world-class online coaching accelerator materials. At the end of that, get them some seed funding, right? To start off and do stuff. And you can start, I'm thinking, with as little as, let's say, 10,000 US dollar, right? Not much, but given what we're spending for JCF, we know that you can do quite a lot, right? If you are resourceful, right? And that's also a good
I tell you what, IncomeSec started, I borrowed £12,000 sterling.
Right,
so if you want to do it, you can.
Right.
I mean, all right, one might argue that I started that 12 years ago, therefore it's, it was worth more back then than it is now. But nevertheless, it's still, it's still a small amount of money. You don't need millions.
Right, exactly. If you are determined, if you know what you're doing, right? All you have to do is a kick, right? Some resource, get some, some money to get some outsourced job done. And particularly in today's age and time, right? Where, I think starting a startup is a lot cheaper. So I'm thinking, actually, I already wrote a proposal for a $10 million fund. For the first round, it was like pretty much, a lot of people can join for 10,000. Next level, 100,000. And the third level, $1 million. Okay.
Are you saying,
it becomes like
suggesting, sorry to interrupt. Are you suggesting that this is part of the kind of wealth platform, right?
Well, wealth, definitely, can be supportive in, I guess, in the funding, the distribution of funds, all that. Okay. But this is more, I think, an accelerator plus impact investment like a mechanism. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Which will probably be run by, and some kind of entity. And whether, we want to run this, that's a business discussion, right? I mean, I think that would be a business discussion. But I guess I'm just saying that I am seeing this possibility of piecing up the different networks, resources, together. And we just might be able to pull off something of the current, let's say, Taiwanese startup wanting to expand into the global scene, okay? By helping them to connect to the global audience, global market with the local Taiwanese talents, which are very talented, by the way. So, and one last comment from Andrew yesterday that really got, that was really interesting was, I share with him my 3-year, happy progress look back as serving 1,000 millionaires on the wealth platform, right? Collectively, $1 billion in net assets, net worth. And he just responded, oh, you can find them in Taiwan. He mentioned he heard somewhere Taiwan has the most millionaires per square kilometers or square feet,
Wow.
square miles,
Square,
whatever.
whatever.
And I wasn't aware, but to think about that,
Wow.
that could very be true. The reason being, Taiwan had a land reform like 50, 60 years ago, long time ago, where a lot of people actually got land from big landlords. So you can think, how much those lands probably will increase in value over the years, land or building or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's possible that in terms of wealth distribution, Taiwan is a lot more, balanced than, let's
Yeah.
say, US. And education
Yeah.
and everything else. It's quite possible. Yes, Taiwan does have a lot of millionaires.
Yeah.
I'd say my personal family, my parents, they are at that level, in terms of their assets. So, I guess what I'm saying is you can probably find a lot millionaires net worth with billions in Taiwan. And let's say if we have a way to actually get them interested, right, to be part of the investor group on the wealth platform, right? And he also suggests there's a lot of Taiwanese in Canada. So,
I
Taiwanese
think,
millionaire Canadians.
yeah.
That's a really
No,
nice, I guess, strategy. So,
yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. I think
yeah.
here's the thing, Shunyun. I mean, this is another what's the word? This is another. I can see this is another exciting project for you,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But
Yes.
the important word here is another, and the thing I want to yeah, I just think. Sorry, I'm still in holiday mode, so I'm trying to formulate my words I think it's
No worries.
brilliant.
Take your time.
I think it's
Okay.
brilliant, and I can see the logic, and I can see where it's going. And again, I suppose on one hand, do you know what? I'll be honest with you, it does scare me a little, because I'm thinking, wow, I'm putting time and effort into JCF and wealth, and it seems like Shunyun's wandering off over there, and that's great for Shunyun. Where does it leave Mike? Right. So if I'm being honest about fears, what immediately come to my mind, that's one thing. So I've made that I've been clear about that. Then there's another side of me that's sitting there saying, which is, with that said, brilliant, fine, fantastic, way to go. That's awesome. There's another part of me that's saying, well, okay, even if you respond to Mike, but this ties directly into wealth and the challenge that I believe we faced, which I've said before, was we got JCF, we got wealth, and if you talk about them and mingle them, people don't understand that there's a tie and a correlation.
Right. Okay.
So my statement about simplicity of message is, I return to that statement, which I believe is the honest reason why I'm saying to you, it's another project. Not because I'm scared, but I just think that JCF Main is once that's 80% done for us, 100% done for the outside world.
That's true. Right.
Then
that's
that
true.
proves a model that works. Then wealth is another proof then we can make wealth the next product works. Now, of course, you have to keep irons in the fire, and you have to keep looking ahead to the future to see what's going to be next, and then their milestones. So, and indeed, this guy might turn around and go, well, hey, Shunyun, you can do this, so why don't we just start it up and have it done by, within the next 6 months? Why not? And you'll go, yeah, of course we can. And you'll put your energy into that, and that's fun. So yeah, I just think it's interesting to measure and balance all of these ideas, but because if you think about it, JCF Main was initiated in 2018.
Right. That's right.
and it got to a certain stage and it hasn't grown anywhere, right? So why is that? And one might argue that, if I'm going to be honest, one might argue, Mike, what have you done to make that? You've been here a year now. What have you done? How have you progressed it forward? What have you contributed to take it to the next level? And, you know, honestly, I think you could argue that I've not done much. So I'd like to argue that I have, but anyway, that's a different thing.
No, you definitely have the doctors with 10,000, I think. And also the 3 hacks, right? I think, and also clarification. Well, I like to stay in the game in that the clarification that JCF main should be polished, which I also fully agree. And I think that was clarity on my part as well. You know, there is a step, you know, that you kind of have to progress. There's a natural progression of things, right? So I think you also made that clear. That was also, I think, very important and helpful.
And I think the other thing is about when I hear Ben is fantastic about saying encouraging things about rah, you do your 10x in one day. Yeah, you can. I'm just waiting for him to go, I've had such an incredible day. I've 10x'd in one day. Well, you know, you don't go from 1 million to 10 million in one day just by thinking about it. There are many hours, many days of significant occurrences so that you can 10x in one day, and you can take your $1 million and do something with it. I don't care what it is. You can say it's the shares, you can say it's crypto, whatever, don't care. Investment in a particular startup is irrelevant. And that might 10x in one day. Yes, you can do that. But there's a significant amount of preparation that gets you to that point. So likewise, I think 10xing in 6 months, you know, your dream of what you could be in 3 years, I think, you know, there are certain things that contribute. It's like the straw that breaks the camel's back, right?
That's right. That's right.
You know, and I think so personally, I believe we're in this process of we're putting straws on top of the camel's back, and at some point it's going to break the camel's back. I'm sorry for the camel, you know, it's unfortunate, but anyway. And and then when we tell people about it, they'll go, well, it's like it happened out of nowhere. Well, no, because we put a lot of effort in getting to here, and I think that,
right.
And also we'll get momentum going. And I genuinely believe that will be the case, so that we will 10x in a very short period of time, because we'll have put all of the effort into getting that momentum going. But anyway, that's
all right. Thanks.
And I'm not being negative or in the gap or anything, but I'm just
That's great. Would it be all right? Quickly feedback on your comment. Okay. One thing I think Ben talks about thinking, you know, about 10x. Let's say your goal, ambition, or future vision that can be done in a day. Okay, I think that's specifically not in terms of achieving it in a day. Okay, it's about, I think, the visioning. And he also mentioned, I think he's realizing more and more, which I tend to agree. It's actually the same effort, whether you are doing a 1x goal, a 5x goal, or a 10x goal. Okay, It's going to take the same effort and time, actually, you know, to aim for, you know, 1 million, 10 million, or 100 million. Okay, it's really just, you know, very likely the effort or the amount of time that's going to take will be very similar. Okay, I think that was
forcing
just
functions as well. So
right. I think that was his point. Okay, that you can do that mental shift in a day, right? That 10x realization, just like, you know, social, I guess, and, you know, impact accelerator suddenly becomes a lot more real to me than, even if it's not going to happen in 6 months, right? I can, you know, say for sure it's getting a lot closer than 10 years, right? Maybe within 3 years, right? Or maybe a couple of years. That's right. I guess that's the point. all right, but I also appreciate your honesty about being fearful, which, by the way, I think it's a healthy sign that we're onto something. Fear
I
and
think,
excitement are the same
yeah,
emotion, right?
no,
If you
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, well,
I
I
mean
mean,
that's right,
anxiety
right,
and
right,
excitement, right? They're the same
right, right.
biochemical. They're the same
Exactly.
in your head. It's just how you,
Biochemically, it's the same. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So maybe you're excited as well.
Oh, heck
Maybe
yeah.
you are.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, very easily done. Very easily done. Well, look, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
All right. Okay.
I guess
So
you've got to go off to your,
yeah, but
yeah,
there
you've got to
are
go.
some decisions I like to check with you. Okay. First off, about Andrew. Okay. What do you think? So specifically, there are a couple of things. One is adding him to the Telegram channel, which is kind of like the work, operational,
Oh,
thing.
okay, fine. So,
And then, providing him with the title of Chief Impact Officer, which, by the way, I think the Taiwanese JCF can offer that. Okay. If there's concern on the UK,
oh, no, no. Okay, so here's what I think about that. So just on the first point, Telegram, Slack, WhatsApp, email. My challenge communicating with you is I never know which one is the right one or the most effective, right?
okay,
So
right.
so I think that's so something I've reflected on recently is like, are we using, because you and I tend to use WhatsApp, but then I don't know whether or not you've read it or not because it doesn't show.
Oh, okay,
Maybe it's the
okay, all
same
right.
for, maybe
So,
it's the same for you, for with me, I don't
okay.
know, but that's one thing. In terms of putting, so in terms of having him as Chief Impact Officer, is he the same as Joy? Is he the same as Nick?
No. My thinking is that we probably will want to draft another contract specific on this. Okay, but the thing I'm thinking more, again, results based. It's only relevant after funding is being secured. Okay, and
Yeah,
he was saying that if some meaningful funding has been secured, then he would like a sort of a co-founder role. Okay, I guess in
right.
terms of in terms of the equity or stuff. And I'm also, and because we actually discussed this before regarding JCF Canada. Okay, I mean I think between he and I. So
Yeah.
my current thinking is that maybe he will play a significant role for a JCF Canada. Okay, and I guess with the funding, so that would mean at least some shares. Okay, in terms of the company, right? And I think we talk about JCF Canada being more like a marketing arm, right? The Taiwan may be more development focused, and we could have a global headquarters that's UK or Swiss kind of. So kind of like with different divisions,
Yeah.
and so this
Okay.
is my current thinking. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah,
right. Go
yeah.
ahead. Go
I
ahead. Yeah.
guess. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think with any with any structure like that, any other person that you bring in is a dilution of. It's not about necessarily a dilution of money, because you can always do profit shares, right? And you can always sit there if you want to genuinely give somebody 30% of the profit, then you can choose to do that, right? But you don't necessarily give them 30% of the decision making. And I think decision making is, and ultimately who has the ultimate right for the decisions, that's the thing that's kind of like, in the traditional context, should be very restricted. In the kind of decentralized context, then everybody would have, right? Now, so are we, and I think one of the things is like, at what point do we truly decentralize? And at what point are we protective of the decision making process? And I think that's an interesting concept. I really,
right.
I don't have a genuine, what's the right word, opinion on that. And I would rather not make a decision that could impact on that opinion. Do you see what I mean? I'd rather understand it, because, and I think that if we had a vision of, you know what, we're going to be very structured in the traditional context until this point here, at this point thereafter, we'll be decentralizing, and at this point here, we will be decentralized. And at that point, the organization will be able to carry on indefinitely because we'll have created whatever.
Fair, yeah. All right.
And
I think that's
because
go ahead. Yeah.
Because if we bring people on, I mean, at least with Joy and with Nick, they are somewhat at arm's length. That if they choose to stay or go, then that's fine. And I think that, and here's the other thing. All right, so we give him the go ahead to do something, and he brings to the table 50 million. Right, I don't care what, well, dollars, not rupees, right? Because I could give you 50 million rupees.
Right.
So he brings in $50 million with an investor, but for some reason you and I don't like the makeup, right? And it's not, there isn't the synergy there. Where does that leave him? Will he be sitting there going, well, I brought you the 50 million. Why did you turn him down? Why did you turn these people down? And he is genuinely, I mean, from the advisor, my criticism about the advisors is that they're not advising us. But he is, you know, every post he's made so far has been, what about these guys for funding? What about these guys for funding? What about it? He's at least 3 or 4 times, right? So fair play, he's actually trying to make a difference. He's trying to impact, right? Which is great. So in principle, results-based, yeah, I think that's a great idea. In terms of ownership, co-founder, et cetera, I think we have to be very careful about what that actually means. If you and I can have honest conversations and we deliberated about open source, I think I'm quite, not jealous is not the right word. I'm quite protective about how easy it's going to be to integrate somebody into the way in which you and I communicate. And I think that is an easy way for us to lose a certain dynamic, and I just don't.
I see. Right. So obviously, I appreciate the protectiveness. Okay, and I also do think it's important. I agree to make sure that the core stuff stays here and stays relevant and can go on long term. Okay. Obviously, I think more thinking is required here. Okay, but I also just like to share the pragmatic aspect of things. Is that we might want the result that is we can onboard people such as Andrew easily, okay, and also we can also share the whatever outcome the person has contributed, right, in a fair way, quote unquote fair way, right? That's agreeable, right? And I think that's basically something we want to figure out. Co-founder or not, I think it's just a title. Okay. In practical terms, it's about how can we onboard talents that are aligned, right, with mission, vision, values, right, quickly.
Yeah.
But also, do it in a flexible way. I mean, that is one thinking. Okay. The other thinking is really onboard people very slowly. I think there are also some, especially the core members. I think that's also another thought. So all right, I thank for that feedback, and I definitely have to admit I don't have a very clear idea picture of this yet. Okay, but I think maybe worthwhile for both of us to think about how can we right protect the core, but also being flexible with the many people who might want to jump on board, right? I mean, Andrew doesn't have a lot of time he can spend, but if he's willing to, let's say, help the funding aspect, right? Filing our applications, go through the process, get us a chance. We want to have some way for him to involve and contribute, right?
Yeah. I think so too. And but at the same token, right? So, can you still hear me? I can't hear you. Frozen. Oh, how frustrating. You still there? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Oh, bollocks. Frustrating. No.
Hello, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. I think my network broke. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But go. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. Right. So, no. What I was just saying was, I guess on that then. So, you know, when I posted stuff, and Nick's come back and he sat there and he said, "Well, don't use these guys. You can use these guys. I can introduce you to these guys," which, from the point of view of funding, they're exactly the same. And indeed, I'll be having a conversation with another group of funders. So there's plenty out there. It's just we've got to find the right ones who are willing and able and wanting to invest, but at the same time, kind of adhere to all of our desires where we're the buyer, right? So, and that's always the kind of challenge, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it's right. I think it's good, and I think it's one. I like Andrew because I think he's genuine about wanting to do stuff, and maybe he's going to come up with the goods and get it done, which is fine. Fair enough. Then we have to kind of let that happen. But yeah, it's just about finding the right dynamic and about what people will accept as being sufficient for their contributions. So
right. Okay, all right. So maybe that's some food for thought. And the other thing, Joy. So Joy might be easier, right? To just invite her to join the team Sync and then see what we can start to do on the marketing front, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's probably not. Okay, all right. So I guess with Andrew, so
if he wants to join the Slack channel, then why not? I think that the idea of giving him the title, I think from the perspective of title, then say like, look, Andrew, if you want the Chief Impact Officer title, and you want to start using it, we can sort you out with email and we can sort you out with a title. But it's just a title for you to have standing in front of people for the time being. That, you know, when actually it turns into real dollars, then we can look at what that actually means.
Okay, so you mean like postpone the discussions until then? Is that the idea?
Well, no, I think because no, I wouldn't accept that, because I would say, well, hang about, I'm doing all the work, and then what if I get it done, and then you're gonna, what are you gonna offer me?
Exactly.
So I think it's a case of, yeah, it depends on how quickly he wants to move forward with everything. Because again, we don't want to be kind of muscled into a decision that, you know, we have to figure out what it is that we want to share.
Okay, all right. So maybe it's a question for us both to think, and we can discuss in our next sync. Okay, I guess those are just the two. Oh, the third person stuff, also with personnel, is, you know, I'm really thinking about who, not how, you know, and I'm thinking we might want the CTO, okay, who is capable and who can spend time regarding the development effort part from, you know, And this potentially is a co-founder level guy. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is I logged back to YC school, okay, which I have an account. You know, we were actually participating in YC Star program. They have a co-founder matching program, okay, where you can basically help do matchmaking. And the definition for co-founder is at least 10% in equity. Okay, that's kind of the co-founder. And there are obviously a lot of talents that's there. So, you know, this is something, I guess maybe I'm at a stage where I'm recognizing and realizing, you know, we might want to bring, you know, talents from different, I guess, backgrounds into the current process, right? And I realized, you know, for example, like a CTO role is a CTO role. And although I am kind of like playing that role now, but I also do recognize that, and maybe we might want a more hands-on CTO who can, you know, potentially do the development, you know, basically at the partner level, okay? Because I do feel that the developer we are currently having, they're still more like on the higher, right? It's not really,
Okay.
I guess what I'm saying is at the co-founder level, right? At a,
Okay.
like a core team level, right? Okay. So
I think
yeah, okay, go ahead.
So from the point of view of who, not hows, everything at the moment is on a shoestring. You know, it's not even, it's thinner than a shoestring, right? Because it's barely keeping the boots tied together. So it's just, you know, it's very, very thin. Talking to people and saying, giving them roles like titles like CTO and co-on, great, but where's the money? What's the money?
Well,
what's actually
there's no salary. I am thinking, yeah, there's
nothing,
like, right.
So
exactly.
Most people will go, they would want more than just 10% of the promise on nothing, right? You've got to be able to say, I've invested a lot of time and effort because I'm a believer. And I've genuinely latched on to how you think. So I think there's a combination of a different set of things which have joined us, you and I, together. And I'd like to believe that that's a mutual feeling, and that we're kind of striving towards something. There's something which is massive, right? Because we're going to be the first people in the world to actually have delivered something which is both profit making and of benefit to humanity.
Right, exactly.
I genuinely believe it's going to go in that way. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this, right? So now, but I think you and I are quite unique. Whether it's this combination of Buddhist and Baha'i principles which we've grown up with, and whatever it is, I don't know. But I think there aren't many people like us. So now, so from a monetary point of view, if I
still have room for a Christian and a Muslim.
Well, be careful there, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, no, okay. So, if we're talking about people, and what you were saying now, I hadn't really thought about what you were saying, but because you've mentioned it, actually, there's a guy I know from Pod, right, from AMP, and he's almost a full stack developer, and he's had some transitioning jobs because in the US market, they have been getting rid of a lot of people. So he's had a bit of a turbulent time. He was really wanting to get into kind of blockchain area stuff.
Nice. Okay.
I think if your opinion is that this is somebody who can possibly start doing stuff on a part-time basis, then it might be somebody, you know, we could have a conversation with. And if it's the right synergy and match and all the rest of it, in terms of technically can he do it, I would say from an emotive point of view and from a he's not an entrepreneur. He's not. He hasn't been able to set himself free from.
Right.
So he is more of a worker, right? And my only criticism of him is he talks too much.
Okay, all right.
I talk a lot. I think sometimes I do unpack my head, but I do also think that I can lay out a series of points to make a final point here, right? And I do think that what he does is he kind of does a bit too much of this.
Okay, I see. All right.
But
okay.
he does make a point. So those my only two kind of, and that's it for criticisms as far as I understand him, right? But I don't know technically whether or not he is as good as I assume that he is, right? But I certainly think he would be an interesting person to talk to, if this was a position that you're looking at and we're looking at, because I think from a perspective of financial remuneration, it would be a good point. He would take that on.
Okay. All right.
He would be the type of person that would consider this, as opposed to somebody who, Robert, for instance, Castelloni, or whatever his name is, if we put that in front of him, he would want immediate remuneration, I would imagine, right? That would be my assumption. That might be wrong, but that, from the comparison of the two, right?
All right, Mike, thanks. I think I got a better idea of the current situation. Allow me just maybe to share. Would it be all right?
Sure, yeah,
okay.
Please do.
I think I am taking an approach. I'm just observing, okay, because we don't have cash now. So, and I do recognize that there are a lot of tasks, different aspects, like seeking funding, and and maybe you and I, we have so much time, right? So I am really thinking about getting more quote unquote partners, okay, basically seeking partner level collaboration where we don't pay, but join us, contribute, and we'll share whatever results. Okay, I think I'm kind of using that kind of mindset or that kind of thinking process. Whereas I noticed that right now you are more careful and protective in terms of adding other quote unquote co-founders or partners into the decision-making process, right? Because somehow that could dilute or could make it too noisy, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you as well, right? So I guess it's a question of, I'm saying I don't have the answer yet, but I'm just observing and realizing that I think we are taking different approaches, maybe to the same challenge we're facing now. That I'm trying to expand the team, right, in a sense, with more partners, whereas you're, I guess, maybe wanting to do things in a more controlled, step-by-step manner, or I guess maybe
yeah, I think
I'm more careful, maybe more careful, yeah, more deliberate, I guess, yeah. So
I think here's the thing:
yeah,
if you sat there and said, right, the irony is this, right? For your system, for your kind of concept to work, then there needs to be an achievable goal, right? Then you need to be able to go, oh yeah, I get that vision. Yes, you're only a few steps away. I'm with you on this. And that, I think, is the challenge that the process that you've kind of put forward so far has, is that I'm not certain that it's easy for people to get that we're that close, right? So I think, and I base that upon the reactions of other entrepreneurs who we've spoken to, who you would think have a better understanding on life and what can be done than most people. So,
Okay, right.
and whilst yes, I am cautious. Yes, I don't want to dilute it. Yes, I don't want the noise, because all of that would mean it would just open up a set of other challenges that would just drag time on, right? And there is, I get that, and there's a counter argument to that as well about you want to go far, go by yourself. If you want to go fast, go with others and stuff like that. I get all of that. No, fast with yourself, far with others, right? So I get all of that argument as well, and I know what you're suggesting we do is we just bring on more people, and it will. But those more people need to feel that there is something that can be achieved, not some bunch of woolly goals. And that's why I come back to, when we achieve an absolute of Maine is done, then people will see what's achieved, right? And then they'll see what's available. And at that point, getting partners on will be really easy. And I believe it'll be more cost efficient for us.
I see. Okay.
Because,
all right.
Because
That's
if you've
point.
got,
yes,
if you've got Maine and it's structured and it's got, let's say, 1 million, 10 million, whatever, then people will see that it's working, and they'll naturally come to you and they'll want to be a part of it. And when they want to be a part of it, they will be the sellers, and they will be going,
they will be the buyers. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
I'll do this for like this much.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Also, I think premature scaling is also dangerous, I guess, in that sense. In
sure.
that, if you don't have like something already solid and you try to scale it, you're just going to blow up the problems. Like
Yeah. I agree, and I think I think what you've just said is the thing that's holding me back. That makes sense to me. What you've just said to me, it feels clear, although I wasn't able to say that.
I see. Articulate. Okay.
Thank you. I can't even articulate because I'm not able to articulate.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I think maybe that's very productive, and probably I think maybe good for now. All right. Okay.
Do you like my t-shirt, by the way?
Oh.
Can you see it?
Like, yes, I see it. Yes. Okay.
I'm very pleased with that. Right. I think it's very good.
Okay. All right. So really appreciate, and I think some food for thought about the I guess the organization and onboarding. Okay, and maybe chat with you on will we do it on Thursday then? Is that possible?
Yeah. Let me just check the diary. I'm sorry. Thursday is the 30th. Oh, right.
Is that possible, or you're already like scheduled?
I think. Well, no. We've got a flight from here.
Oh, okay, okay.
On that day, I think it's probably better not to.
Okay, all right, no worries.
So my plans now. I won't be back. I'll be back in England on the 1st of April.
Okay, all right.
So that week, that following Monday, I'm back to meeting you at 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. Okay, sure.
Well, what about tomorrow? Are you thinking about syncing tomorrow, or maybe not?
Tomorrow, I'd like to. There is a possibility that we might go out to one of the islands that's just over the bay there.
Okay.
Having said that, I'm not sure.
Okay. So all right.
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. All right. Okay. No worries. If it's tomorrow, it will be the same time. Okay, for today, which is 4:30.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So I'll tell you what. I'll message you on WhatsApp tomorrow.
Okay. Sure.
When I know.
And regarding the instant messenger, I think, how about let's do this? Let's use Telegram. Okay, for both. I think for our communication, because if you want to know whether I have read, that may be better. Let's reserve WhatsApp for only external party discussions. Okay, if we were having a group chat with someone on WhatsApp, but let's use Telegram as instant messenger. And then Slack, I think it's suitable for sending documents, something to look for after, because instant messengers are not good for archiving. Okay. So any kind of information, URLs, links, resources, they should be sent to Slack. How about this? And I mean, instant messengers typically is for quicker message and alerts, response, right? That kind of thing.
So
right?
if it's I'm going to be late today, it's on Telegram. If it's going to be
exactly.
Here's my impact filter, it'll be on
that's
Slack.
on Slack. That's on Slack. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Or like here's the website to check out, right? Here's a good funding resource, something like that's for Slack. Those are for Slack.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Okay.
All
right.
One,
take care. So enjoy your trip.
My friend.
Continue. Take care. Yeah. Bye bye. Yeah. Bye.